Today we're doing a review of Mafia: The Old Country. I didn't really know what to expect when I got this game because I never really played Mafia 1 or 2, but I assumed it was just going to be like a Grand Theft Auto clone. And I was wrong, and happily wrong. The game is a very linear experience with, yes, some GTA aspects, but it really wants to tell a story first and foremost, and I can really sink my teeth into a story game. Unfortunately, this turns out to be one of those story games that they kind of wanted to make a movie, and they really should have just made a movie rather than a game because the gameplay aspects of the game really fall flat. There's some racing and driving and horse racing, but the mechanics are half-baked because there are only 2 missions where you do that, so it's not great. There's some knife duels that are really cool, but there's only 5 of those in the entire game, so again, they kind of half-bake the mechanics. There's gunplay, but it's basic, mediocre at best. And every mission boils down to the same thing. You drive to an area, you either sneak around and take everyone out, or you can go guns blazing and take everyone out. Either way, you have to take every single person out. And what really frustrated me is it doesn't matter whether you're quiet or loud, because certain missions will automatically alert everyone at the end of it, so even if you snuck around and did everything right, hey, everyone knows you're there anyway, so it really didn't matter if you went in quiet or guns blazing. And mission structure like this really works for something like Grand Theft Auto, where when you're done with the mission, you can go fool around, you can drive around, you can do some other things, you can explore the world, you can do side quests, you can shake up the monotony. But in a linear experience, it very quickly becomes old where it's okay, take the horse to point A, take everyone out, take the horse to point B, take everyone out, watch a video, take the horse to point C, watch a video. It's just the same thing over and over and over again. And that's such a shame because when I started the first 1, 2, or 3 chapters of the game, I really got into it. I was okay, they're trying to tell a story. There's some good music in here. There's a lot of theme. There's a lot of atmosphere. This is like watching a Mafia thriller where you're really oh, you come to me on the day of my daughter's wedding and you ask me for a favor. You know, on these days, I cannot refuse a favor. It's really dripping in all the cliches and stereotypes in a good way. But honestly, I think you're better off just watching the cutscenes as a YouTube movie where someone sews all the cutscenes together than actually buying the game for full price. Because otherwise you're getting non-open world, so it's just straightforward on the missions, and there's only about 10 hours of gameplay, so $50 for 10 hours, not the best. And then you're getting a mediocre racer and a basic cover shooter where you can get any of those better anywhere else. I will say, did you just see that sign I ran by? I do like that when you're going to a mission area, the signs will subtly point you to the area you need to go, which is really cool, but again, and one little thing can't save this game. And it looks beautiful, this vista right here as we're running by, I absolutely wanted to explore this world. They did so much world building into it. You can find little newspapers everywhere that tell you about the goings on and everything in the world. And it seems like they really just wasted all that. They built this beautiful world that I want to explore, and then they give you no ability to explore it because you're just running to mission areas. There's all these wonderful hills that are just completely empty. There's all these people that are empty. There's just so much here that's wasted. Speaking of wasted, there's a whole upgrade system and different weapons and cars and things you can buy. And honestly, I got to the end of the story without doing any of that. The game never presented me an opportunity to go back to the shop to purchase the upgrades for your rosary, which is your power system. So I beat the game with no power-ups. They just weren't present because I never got a chance to go back there because I thought, okay, well, the game will open up at some point. I'll run back to the shop and spend my money. Nope. Beat the game, never bought an upgrade. I did spend some money on some guns, but honestly, the first guns you get are better than the other guns you can get in some ways. You get the single shot bolt action rifle, it takes people down in one shot. Every other gun is basically pointless. And it again points me back to, okay, if you really can't lose, you really don't need the upgrades, there's nothing to see in the world, why didn't you just make this a movie? Why did you need to make this interactive? They even give you an old antique camera that takes wonderful photos. Again, the world is beautiful, so getting this camera was oh, I'm going to go around and take some photos that really look nice and explore these vistas. No, you can only use the camera at predestined locations for predestined photos, which I get because they want to make high render copies of it cool, but such a wasted potential. I do want to note one thing that I do really like is Catholicism is dripping in here. It's Italy, it's Catholic, there's rosaries, there's saints, there's church, there's fathers. And yes, some of the fathers are flawed individuals, but a lot of games when they involve the church, it's always the same thing kind of over and over, which is look at how evil and corrupt and awful this church is. Rather, this game presents it as all of these people have faith, but obviously it's flawed because they're mafiosos running around shooting people. So it's flawed individuals who are deep into their flaws, and sometimes the fathers get dragged into that as well, where they're involved in the mafia willingly or unwillingly and doing things that they don't want to be a part of. I really appreciate that it seems like they actually took care to look at the faith rather than just doing the church is bad kind of thing that every modern game does. I also appreciate that the story doesn't end with everything's happy and everything's wonderful, and even though you just destroyed half the population of the town, everyone's happy hunky-dory. It tells a story of revenge, destroying a town, how hatred and all these illegal things that they're doing are destroying not only themselves, but their families and the land that they live on. It's actually really good and compelling. And again, the story was great, but why wasn't it in a movie? And the prequel does its job of making me interested in these characters. I now really want to go play the definitive edition of Mafia 1 and 2 and see, okay, how do those other stories tie into this? Like, now that I've gotten to know this character and their story, I'm into it. I'm sold into it. Now give me more. Now, I won't try and do too many spoilers, but it's a Mafia game, so I'm guessing that this story doesn't directly tie into the other games for certain reasons, but I do know that some of the characters make an appearance at some point somewhere else, so it does tie in, but there are no happy endings here. If you haven't played it already, it's worth a playthrough. I thought, again, in the first few chapters, this might be game of the year, and then after playing a few more chapters, I was like, okay, there's some real flaws here. So if you haven't played it yet, please don't pay full price to it. But there are options to play the game where you don't have to pay full price. The most obvious one is waiting for a discount for Christmas or other things like that. But there is one more option, and I do give a fair warning, this is sponsored content. But I only have it here because I truly believe in it, and you can play it the way that I played it, which is through Gamefly. I'll of course copy the links so that you can access Gamefly in the description down below, but essentially Gamefly is a rental service that allows you to rent 1 or 2 games a month, keep them for however long you want, and play them for however long you want, and then return them for the next game on your list when you're done. If you have a console like a PS5 that allows you to put discs into it, this saves you so much money, because again, this game, good experience, but not $60 good. So I played the 10-hour story in a couple days, and now I'm going to send it back, and I get another game for a fraction of the price. So again, I know people hate sponsored ads, I hate sponsored content myself. However, I truly believe in this service. Last year I did the math myself and I saved $1,000, $1,500 in games that I wanted to try but ended up not liking. So I'm very glad I didn't buy them. This is an option to be able to rent the game, play it, and send it back without paying all the costs. Okay, sponsored content over. I do think you should rent it, not buy it, but it is a solid story. It has some good music. I especially love when a game takes the dedicated time to make a good soundtrack. And while there's not always good music in this game, there's a few moments where you're just standing in a bazaar or you're standing in the town and you just hear the music playing and it's thematic, it's good, and a good attention to detail. It feels fitting to the world and it's enjoyable to listen to. So the good music, the good story do help to make up for the other shortcomings. But again, there's so many shortcomings in this game that I just really can't recommend it as a must play. You probably get the most out of it just watching, like I said, YouTube videos for the entire story, but you will get connected to the characters. They told a good story. I really enjoyed Enzo as a character. I really wanted to see him kind of muster through it and have a happy ending. And that's really all I have to say about the game. Rent it or watch the videos through it. It's worth a watch through once, but it's kind of a boring playthrough. Thank you so much for watching and have a blessed day.